But listen to it on the Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Come on in. Y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is. It is Beyond the Robe time. Come on in. We got a good one for you tonight. I want to just give a few more people some time to come on. We got a good one for you tonight. So come on in. Come on in. Y'all know the drill. Come on, love it and share it. Love it and share it. Love it and share it. I'm already encouraged to see those faithful followers on already. So come on, come on, come on. I see G Spitter. I see you, Melissa. I see you, Simonetta on here. Ronnie, as always. I see you, April. I see you. Come on in. Missionary Brooks, I see you. Come on in. Come on in. We got a good one tonight. Hey, mama. I always feel like a big kid, you know, when you're a little kid, you always want to be on TV and make it big so you can be looking at the TV and say, hey, mama. So I'm going to do, hey, mama. Hey, mama, it's me. It's me. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? So come on in, y'all. We got a good one for you tonight. As you all know, it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, along with Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So, what a topic to talk on, as well as just be transparent with. So, listen. As always, we're going to start with the disclaimer. Beyond the Robe is not a church-based podcast. However, the intent of this podcast is to start the conversations that we just did not have growing up in our homes, in our churches, in our communities. And I'm hoping that you all are blessed by these podcasts. A lot of people have reached out to said, hey, Doc, Pastor D, Dantes, man, you have no idea how these topics have been hitting home, or man, I've been dealing with this for so long and didn't have the room or the opportunity to say anything, and your courage is just bringing me to the point of wanting to get help or wanting to speak out. So I am so grateful for that. So listen, I need you to do this for me. Share this video. The more people that see it, the more people will be blessed by it. I need you to go over to IG and follow me at _Beyond the Robe. Y'all, do y'all notice that's my signature? I do that every week. Do y'all notice that at _Beyond the Robe? All right, so come on, go ahead and follow me on IG, and then shoot over to YouTube and subscribe to the YouTube page, which is Beyond the Robe Podcast. So, all right, we're about to get ready and dig in it. Domestic violence. I have a special guest tonight. I am so excited. We have my new friend, my new sister, who we were already bound and didn't even realize it through church affiliation. So I have my sister, Sonia. So is it Sonia or Sonia? Sonia. I not actually listen. They'd let you know I will butcher a name with the quickness, but my sister Sonia is here with me tonight, and she is here to just bring awareness, share her testimony, and really talk about these things. Before we start, I want to give a special shout out to Lou. I know you are watching. You are always watching. It's a joke. It's an insider, but she is my favorite parent, and she just encouraged me, and she said, hey, I've been watching your podcast, and they've been amazing. They've been helping me, and we email back and forth, and she's telling me like, hey, you have no idea how much they've been blessing me. And I thank you so much for just the encouragement and for watching. Them kids better be, well, I guess it's not bedtime, but they come up to me, my students, and they're like, Mr. Smith, we watched the podcast. I'm like, you can't watch that episode. So I just want to let you know that I thank God for you and your support, and it means a lot. So domestic violence is one of those things that happens often in the home. And it's also one of those things that is hidden. It's hidden, right? We don't want people to know. We don't want to be judged. And on top of that, you know, we don't want we don't want the embarrassment of how did you, how could you, why would you allow, why would you know, but we're going to talk about those things tonight. So here we are. As I always do, I poll the question, if you know someone, maybe yourself have been through domestic violence, you are a survivor and you're not ashamed. Remember, this is a safe place. I don't force you to do anything, but if that's you, if you know someone, if you have been a victim of domestic violence, do you mind just sharing in the comments? That's me, or I know, or I've been there. Again, it's a safe place. Feel free. If you're not comfortable, you don't have to share. I see Lisa Williams have come on. Hey, Lisa. My friend Geraldine is on. Tanya Jones is on. Keisha is on. But if that's you, if you have been a victim of domestic violence, if you know someone who have dealt with domestic violence, okay, all right. April says I know. She knows someone who have been a victim of domestic violence. Okay. Keisha says, I've been there. I've been there. You are a survivor, Keisha. You are a survivor. You are a survivor. Anybody else comfortable to share? All right, Missionary Brooks says she knows someone. Listen, tell them that they are a survivor. And you stand tonight in agreement that they will not have to endure that anymore. It's real. It's real. It's real. Anybody else care to share before we hop into it on tonight? All right. So, listen, Sonya have a story, and we're going to let her tell her story, because the truth of the matter is she's not the only one with the story. She's not the only one with the story. And on tonight, we're going to have some real transparency. So if this is a touchy subject for you, you may want to tune off. If you cannot handle it, we understand. We don't want to offend anyone. Y'all know me, I do want to push the bear a little bit, because if you're experiencing this, I want you to speak out. I want you to get help. Go get counseling. So, absolutely. Wow. Missionary Brooks said, I've been there myself. Wow. Sister Tanya Jones said, I've been there myself. Wow. All right, well, let's hop into it. Share your heart.
So, I experienced both types of abuse. One was physical and one was mental. And I didn't experience domestic violence in the home. My father was a loving father, and him and my mom never fought. They barely even argued in front of us. So when I first experienced the physical abuse, I was embarrassed. Like, how is this happening to me? So I hid it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I kept it a secret. I wouldn't tell anybody. And I dealt with it. So as time went on, I finally started opening up. I still never told my parents what I was experiencing. I had kids by this man. This was the physical abuse. And eventually he had asked me to marry him. And I was like, okay, well, maybe if I marry him, maybe all of this will stop. But it didn't stop. So I did marry him.
So it started off as physical when you guys were just dating.
Yes.
Okay, and then you went into that relationship, had children, and then eventually married them.
Correct.
Wow.
So, and I thought it would stop after then, but it didn't. But eventually, I got the courage to leave. I finally ended up telling my parents what I was going through. My father really didn't approve, but I always wanted to protect my dad. So he would come, whenever an altercation came. I finally started calling the police to get this man away from me. But I kept going back because I kept saying I didn't want my kids to be without their dad because I was never without my dad. You know what I'm saying? So that was a thing that kept me. And so many of us feel like we feel stupid or people gonna judge us. But at the end of the day, we can't worry about that. So I went through that process. I got up out of that. And I divorced. And to this day, me and that person is friends because we do share children. And we do have grandkids. So I have forgiven him.
Okay.
Years later, come to now, I ended up with a man who I thought was the perfect man. But I realized there's no perfect nobody. He used to be open with me, transparent. And what I experienced with him was mental abuse. And when I say mental abuse, it's the worst type of abuse you can experience.
Wow. Wow.
So he would tell me things, and it was now that I see it, now that I have been out of it for a couple of months. I haven't dealt with him since October of last year. Things transpired.
Oh, so it's still very fresh.
This is very fresh.
Okay.
He knew I wanted to be married again. He told me all the right things, and just the way he treated me in the beginning, I felt safe with him, and his background, I was like, okay, he's sincere. He's a man of God, and I never thought this man would lie to me. But as time started going on, we had started having
somebody need to be watching this tonight. This is interesting. It's deep.
As time started going on, then me and him started having our issues. So I would always say, it's me. Okay, what can I do to change it? I always thought it was me. And I would talk to people, and they'd be like, girl, leave him. Even to his mother, his brother, and his daughters. They was like, you too good for him. His daughter would say, Mom, you too good for him. This is how he is. And I always felt like I was never too good for anybody. And knowing his story, knowing my story, and I just used to say, he's a broken man. He just needed to be shown love. I would talk to his mother. She would pray with me. We would pray. And she was like, he always said that you're the closest thing to a wife that he ever had.
Wow. So
I was like, okay.
So the heartstrings was pulling.
Right.
The heartstrings was pulling.
Right. So I just kept saying, okay, I'm just going to keep praying like, God, okay, maybe it's me. Show me what I need to do to change. So he would leave. He would say, it's over. I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I'm going my way. You go yours. And I'd be like, okay. So I went through this, and this has been for 4.5 years. I went through this with this man.
Wow.
And I would pray like, God, if you bring him back, I'll change this, thinking all the time it's me. I would talk to my friends, and they'd be like, you need to just leave him alone. He's this, he's that. He's playing you. My play sister used to be like, I think he's doing this because he's going to kill you. I said, why would he want to kill me? Like, why? Not me, So I just kept going back with that. So he would go from between me and his ex-wife that he had married twice and divorced.
Wow.
And then it would be other women. And what he would do was tell me about other women. And I'd be like, okay, I know my worth. I knew I deserved better. And I was like, okay, well, what's really happening? So we would separate for a little while. He would call or I would call. We get back together. Things would be honeymoon stages again. So I was like, okay.
Break up to make up. That's all. Okay.
And that's all we did. That's it.
First you love me, then you it's because it's real, right?
It's real.
It's real.
But you don't see this game. And I used to be like, okay, I'm not gonna deal with him. And his mother just used to say, baby, you too good for my son. He's sick.
Woo.
So
now when mama,
you need to listen.
When mama speak.
You need to listen.
You know it's something.
But
when Mama starts speaking.
But I just kept saying, he used to always say stuff about her, and I'd be like, okay. Then he would say, I don't see how you and my mother get along so good. But I loved his mother like she was my mom.
Sure.
And my mom is passed on, so she was somebody I can confide in.
Sure.
You know. And to this day, I miss her because all ties has been cut.
Okay.
But after things transpired, he knew I wanted to get married. So we had went this last year. I hadn't talked to him in 7 months. He had went his way. I went my way. Just still working, asking God, like, okay, help me get through this. And one day, one of his ex-coworker, my coworker, son passed away. So I told his daughter, because I thought they were close, like, tell him that, the person's son passed away. And that's how we started back talking. But I was still trying to be so strong. Like, I haven't talked to him in 7 months. I'm doing good. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to talk to him.
Oh, we all been there.
Right.
But y'all know. We've all been there like, I ain't going to do it.
Right.
And all you got to do is just see him. And it's just like.
But I didn't even see him. So what happened was he texted me. And I said, nope, I'm going to play hardball. Mm-hmm. I'm going to play hardball. Mm-hmm. So he texted me and asked me about our co-worker's son. I would wait, like, nope, I'm not responding. I'm going to give it a while. So I would do my route, get to the end of the line, then I'll send a message. Like, no, I'm not going to be available anymore for you. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So he was like, just call me. I said, no, I'm not going to call you. I said, if you want to talk to me about this, you could call me. But come to find out, he had already reached out to this person. That was his way of getting back in. And I wasn't strong enough to just... So when we got back together, after the 7 months, he was like, are you sure you want to marry me? I said, there's something I always wanted. And I was like, I wasn't going to bring that topic up. So we had started talking for a little while. And both feet dropped out again.
Wow.
So he played the game again. And I was going to school. I was like, I can't let this distract me. I was getting ready to graduate last year in December. And I was like, I can't let it distract me. So I was like, well, we just could be friends. He back to his ex-wife again. He went back there telling me some stuff. He was like, I'm never going to marry her. Come to find out, after you broke I called his phone, the phone that I let him use because his was broke. And she answered the phone.
Oh.
And it was like my world was crushed. And I was out with some friends, and we was at the bar, and I had been drinking.
That's the worst.
Yeah. So, and I was just like, put him on the phone.
Yeah.
Now I'm in my feelings.
That's like, right. Because I'm about to sweat.
So she wouldn't give him the phone. So I reacted.
Her name was Bianca?
No.
Y'all know I'm saying. Brandy.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So I ended up reacting, but I said God does things to make us realize he put us in a position where we need him for him to open up our eyes. And I'm glad I went through this experience. I'm glad I went through this experience with him because, things ended up getting out of hand. I ended up doing some stuff that I regretted. Actually, I regretted it the next day.
Sure.
So he ended up playing victim. The police was called. He pressed charges on me. All of this. So I ended up catching a case behind it. And in the meantime...
So here's my question. Catching a case behind... Now, was there a physical assault
never saw
that happened?
him. No, not with him. Not with him.
Okay.
There was not a physical assault with him.
Got you.
But with his furniture, it was.
Yes.
So I was a woman scorned. You hurted me. You said we was going to get married. You asked me when you came back. So all of this. So I was like, okay. But I needed to go through this. Because every time me and him would break up, I would pray, God, bring him back. I would do this different. God had removed him.
So in your mind, it's me.
It's me. And that's the mental part of it, the abuse. Because he made it feel like it was me. He really did. And what I came to realize is that you're a narcissist. Because you never took responsibility for what you did. You always said it was me. So now I'm taking the blame for what I did and what you did. You know what I'm saying? And that's not fair. They play on your mind.
Come
And it
on,
wasn't
church.
that I was weak. It wasn't that. Well, I felt stupid. That's what I did feel. You know, because everybody is telling me this.
Yeah.
But I'm human. I didn't want to be by myself.
But now let me interject, because first off, let's go here, and then we're going to get into some comments. Domestic violence is not just a physical abuse.
It's not.
And I think people hear domestic violence and all they think about is a physical abuse, but it goes so beyond.
It's deeper.
Just the physical aspect of things. Let me also throw this out there. Women are not the only ones who experience domestic violence.
They're not.
Some people think when you hear domestic violence, automatically, oh man, she was getting no. There are men
who are
getting abused and never say a word. And even if they're not getting abused physically, which some of them are,
they're getting abused mentally.
They're getting abused mentally. So when I tell you that I can relate on so many different levels, many of you, have reached out and, they have said, hey, Pastor, we seen some things that was, said about you. We seen some things that was, alleged. And I laugh because what I've learned and what I found is that hurt people hurt people. And I grew up in a family where I didn't see domestic violence. I didn't see my mother and my grandmother arguing and fighting, and my dad and his dad. We didn't talk back to our parents. Now, we snuck and we did,
we
you
can't go back.
Right, all of that. I'll never forget, funny story, seriously, I'll never forget my mom. I had such a reverence for my parents and my grandmother. And my mom was just getting on me. She was just getting on me. And just getting on me, And, I was getting up that age. I was like 16 or 17. And I wanted, as grandma would say, I'm smelling myself,
Mm-hmm.
But I knew not to talk back to her, And she made me so mad one day. I'm talking about I was up on the landing. And she said something and walked down, and I was hot. My body was hot. I got the sweat, but I knew not to talk back to her. But boy, when she walked down them stairs, I double flicked her just in silence, just flicked. But I knew you better not open up your mouth and disrespect that woman. And the truth is, my family dynamics was a little different from, my ex-wife's family dynamics in terms of certain things. So there were things that I never saw or experienced that maybe she had, and what was amazing to me was those who know my character. Now, don't get me wrong. We all got some issues. We all got a person inside of us that nobody knows.
That's right.
And people can say like, oh, well, I'm this person, or they got demons, and we all got something inside of us we don't want nobody to know about.
And you're right.
And there is a mean side to me that you better get out of Dodge. But what I found interesting was, in all of the years of me being physically abused, never telling anyone, never, I had such a love and reverence that I didn't want people to see her in a certain light. You cover up things and things that people say, or about her attitude, or what she thinks she is. And, you all know that's not who you protect that person.
Right.
And the truth of the matter is, for years, she would strike me and I would never hit her back. Never hit her back. There was one point in the marriage where if we had a conversation, she would literally sit on her hands.
So she wouldn't hit you.
And she said, well, that's because I realized that it's wrong to be hitting you. And I wouldn't hit her back. And I remember before her father passed, he called me one day and he said, I need to apologize to you. We need to have a talk because he's seen bruises on her. And I love him to death. He was such an amazing guy. I have such a love and respect for him. One, he was the only one that would stand up to her and tell her that she was wrong. But he had so much wisdom. And he said, I saw bruises on my daughter. And you know, sorry, you know, I'm going to just be honest. You know, he said, you know, I told my wife I was coming to kick your ass. Okay. He said, and she stopped me and said, no, Dad, those are self-defense. He was holding me. I was hitting him. And I began to talk to him about things that I was experiencing with her in terms of her putting her hands on me. And we laughed at the end. And I told him, I said, you know, and he's deceased now. And his wife and I, we have a great relationship. I still go over there. He owned a winery. I still go and help her with the wine. And my ex doesn't even know these things because those are personal relationships that, you know, I built with them, you know. And we laugh about it to this day because I told him, I said, you know, I appreciate the fact that you thought you could kick my, you know, and we laughed. He was that kind of guy, right. You know. And what happened is, what I found is the moment when I said enough was enough. And, you know, some people would say, well, you should walk away. Or you should, you know, and it's easy to say that, but when you've been struck, you know, and you know, it's like, okay, you know, and the moment you strike back, you become the abuser. And that's what happens. You become, and it's like, you're the one that's crazy. Whoa. I protect my, you know, what about the nights when, you know, you done tore up my house, you done tore TVs off the wall, broke the glass, spit in my face, and I still got to get up and go and preach to these people. Right. And love you in front of these people. After you know. And the moment I say, okay, enough is enough, I'm already walking to church with 7 stitches in my head, well, staples in my head. And the moment I say enough is enough, and I do strike back, now I'm still a man. Correct. She was never, ever hit with a closed fist. So, you know, I would not, you know, I'd never punched her, beaten her. No, loved her too much to do. That's not in me. That's not, but you're not going to keep putting your hands on. And the moment you strike back, you become the problem. I was physically abused. You were, and it's hurtful because people who really know my character know that's not who I am. I don't go around it was nothing she never did, and I struck her. You know, and I feel like, I don't know if you've seen that video of Ike Turner when he was trying to defend himself, which he said, you know, I never hit her. I mean, I slapped her once, but I never punched her, you know, and I felt like that in that moment. And the Lord said to me, you don't have to justify anything. One, vengeance is mine. And 2, God knows all. He sees all. Correct. And the moment you defend yourself, you become the abuser. And it's like, really? All the years of me feeling like I'm not enough. You know, you're from a suburb and I'm from Huff, and you got a degree and I don't, and you know, you're so smart and I struggle in academics and reading, and not because I couldn't, but because there was something in me that said I couldn't, because again, it was like, you're not gonna make it. You ain't gonna graduate from the 9th grade because you're not you know, and these are things that we're going to talk about even on the podcast, because words in families, you have to be careful. Now, I know my mom loved me, but those things will play on your children when you say things like, I bet you if I call Darius, you know, he'll know this word. He'll know that plays on a person mental. And then they go from trying to apply themselves to just giving up. So you already come from a place of feeling like you're not enough or you're not as smart. And then you get with someone who has this high IQ and never got a B on their report card, and they begin to play on those things that there's nothing that you say is good enough or it don't make sense. Or why? How could you come up? But someone else can come behind you and say the same things like, oh, well, I see that. There was so much abuse that I went through that I said nothing about. And then when I began to speak out or when I began to defend myself, I have become the abuser.
I became the abuser too. I remember mugging him one time. We got into an argument, and I was like, it came from my past. But I said, you're not this type of man.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, he is that type of man. Mm. And then after talking with his daughter, she shared some stuff with me. And I was just like, wow. But the mom feels like my sons don't fight women. Well, your son really do, because he jumped on me the day before his birthday. We was having an argument. I called him the B word, and he said, "Did you call
Brandon?"
me?" Nope. I wish it was Brandon. And I was like, and I kept it from my sons too. You know, I didn't want my sons to get in trouble.
Yeah.
You know, I kept it from so many people, and then he made it seem like he felt bad that he did. It was the day before his birthday. We ended up still going to Pickle Bills to eat for his birthday with his family. And his brother said, y'all gonna lose everything.
Wow.
I said, no. I was like, I'm done. You know, I just figured he would change.
Mm-hmm.
But this last time, God, like I said, God was removing him from my life.
You know what's funny to me, sis, is that the thing that you can once love so much,
baby,
you come to hate. And people, oh, you can't say that, but hate is a strong word.
It is a strong
There
word.
are things that you once loved so much that you would die for, that you come to say, mm-mm. The mental abuse happened more in my marriage than the physical. That's why I tell people, you got to be realistic. You know, we were married 12 or 13 years. I really can't remember. Maybe 12, I think. Whatever. And I would be lying to say, she beat me all 12 years. Well, no, she didn't.
You had good days.
So that we had good. So it blows my mind when I hear how traumatic the marriage was, and it's like traumatic.
You know why?
You know?
Because you want to play victim.
What?
You want people to take your side. I experienced that with him because
But
he told.
But my thing is, there's not even a side to take.
But that's what they want. They want the pity. They want people to say
traumatic.
They want
it was such a traumatic marriage and a traumatic divorce. And I'm like, traumatic divorce? For one, I didn't even know we were getting divorced. All of the divorce papers was going to an email that I wasn't even using. You know, when we got a divorce, I was at work. I didn't even know I was supposed to be on a Zoom call for a divorce. So there was nothing done. You had already moved out. You know, so what was so traumatic? And you got thousands of dollars. And I ain't talking about no 2, 3, 10, 15, 20. Thousands of dollars from a set. What was so traumatic about it? You left chewing bubble gum, whistling and skipping. But it was so traumatic. And I'm saying, in 12 years, there was nothing good. Because I remember when we were living in an apartment and I said, my wife ain't gonna be living in no apartment. I remember fixing up our credit and paying off bills and even in that, there was no support of my husband from putting me in house. There was, why are you doing that? We don't need to be, we can't afford a house. We need to stay, we're fine in the apartment. You know why? And it's like, no, I want to get us in a house. And the moment I fixed the credit up, the moment I got things in perspective, and I got the pre-approval, and I said, hey, guess what? We pre-approved. It's like, where we moving? Let's look. And it's like, but what about all the work that I put in with no support? You know, I remember when I was called to this church, the mental abuse was so strong. It's supposed to be a time of celebration. And there was no sense of happiness that I was to the point where God had for me to be. The mental, you know, and I mean, I would be down here cleaning for hours. No call to say, are you okay? Can I come help you? Did you eat? You know, and I began to think like, wow, maybe I'm not worthy. Maybe I'm not. The mental abuse was strong. The fight of friends who word meant more. That's a mental abuse that, well, am I not good enough? It was real. But it wasn't always. There were some good
days.
At least I thought there were. At least I thought there were. You know, even now I tell people, beautiful woman, educated, smart woman, wonderful man, excellent preacher. Oh, can preach that. But I know that every day wasn't a bad day. So I would never say it was traumatic. But the truth of the matter is, I was the one being abused. You know, that it was me. Right. You know, it was me. When you don't get the things that you feel you deserve, or even the things that you just want. Just as simple as things. Cook me a meal and make me a plate. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'll never forget. I was out working or doing something, and I came home and I slid the patio door open, and there was a smell that hit me. I mean, it came from heaven. It was like grandma's kitchen. Oh, she had cooked, and I mean, oh, it smelled amazing. And all the girlfriends was over and everything, and you know, like, hey y'all, what's up? You know. And I walk in the kitchen.
And the food gone?
The food was gone.
Wow.
And I said, how do you, first off, you never really cooked. I was the cooker. You know, you never really cooked. And you cook and entertain your girlfriends and don't say, let me put my husband up a plate. Wait a minute, y'all. We gonna eat and we gonna have a good time, but my husband, I gotta fix his plate first. And I turned around, went out, and got me something to eat. And it was dark outside. And it's like, those things play on your mental that I ain't worth a plate.
It does. It really does. And we had good times, and I used to always say the good outweighed the bad for me with him. Mm-hmm. I felt safe.
Well, see, I did too. She felt otherwise. The bad outweighed the good.
Well, this last time, this bad thing that happened to me outweighed the good and everything else. Mm. So it took me, and the sad part is that I was so hard on me that I had to go to counseling. So women who has been abused physically or mentally, go seek counseling.
Seek counseling, y'all.
Anybody.
Seek counseling,
go seek
y'all.
Counseling, because going through the court case, I thought I was gonna lose my mind. I was like, I'm not gonna go to jail for 2 years. And I thank God for my counselor, because when I tell you, she was a woman of God, down to earth, and she talked to me like a mother.
Yeah.
She didn't pull no punches. She said, "Can I cuss? Be real with me."
Yeah.
Because I ended up forgiving him, and he ended up, in the police report, I realized that he had married her again for the third time. So I was like, okay. And what she said to me was, I forgave them, but I couldn't forgive myself. And it's still now, I still look back and say, why did you stay so long? And it's not because I depended on him, because I have a good job, made my own money. Mm-hmm. It's not like I didn't have my own place because I'm buying my home.
Yeah.
And that's something that my brother couldn't understand. Like, why do you have to be with this guy? My brother didn't like him off rip. Everybody was okay because I was liked it up. So women don't always stay for those reasons. Because I didn't need him to take care of me financially. And when I look back on it, he didn't do anything for me. I was the one doing it all.
Let me tell you one of the worst mentals that played with me. We were trying to counsel. We were clashing heads. And she looked me in my face. And Sonia, she told me, I don't need you. I could never get over it from that day. Because every time there was something that she didn't do, all that went to my head, she says she don't need you. So she's not going to do anything she don't want to do. Because she made it, she looked me in my face and told me, I don't need you. Oh my gosh. It played on my mental so bad. It played on my mental so bad. I'd rather her had slapped me in the face
And told you those words.
than to speak those words. Is real. So why do we stay?
I stay. What I came to find out when I was going to counseling is that I love this man more than I love myself. But his mother tried to tell me that. She tried to tell me, she said, you got him in a place that God is supposed to be. So in my head, I'm saying, this old lady don't know what she's talking about. I love God. I go to church. I praise him. And I just kept saying that. And then when the therapist said the exact same thing that his mother said to me, I'm like, wow, confirmation. But now that I'm out of it, I can see, and I had to admit that. So that's why I beat myself up, because I knew my worth. But because I love this man so much, I accepted what he did to me. And that's what my therapist said to me. She said, you mad at yourself and you can't forgive yourself because you knew better.
So pretty often what I have come to understand is that you do blame yourself.
You do.
Well, maybe if I would have such and such, she wouldn't have said this. Or maybe if I wouldn't have such and such, she wouldn't have raised that. Maybe if I such and such, she would wear this. Or maybe.
But it's not you. They have to look inside themselves.
Absolutely.
It's something that he went through as a child that I didn't go through. So he saw the violence in his house. I didn't. And like I said, I didn't forgive him. I don't think I have seen him since then. He have not seen me. And when I always tell everybody, like, I don't ever want to see him. After court, I tell everybody on October the 25th, he died.
Wow.
He died to me.
Wow.
May 1st, I buried him.
Wow.
I don't talk about him. I have moved on with my life. It was a struggle, though. It was really a struggle, but I ended up joining a sorority, and my sorority sisters really loved on me, and I kept saying, I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to talk. But I started opening up before I crossed the line, because we used to have these meetings just to find out I wasn't alone. And that's what people feel like sometimes. They keep it to themselves because they feel like they're alone, and you are embarrassed.
Yeah.
And people ask you, why do you stay? Or, and I was trying to explain it to my brother, but because we never went through this, he still never understood. Like I said, I get lonely. People don't tear down my door. I'm in this big old house by myself.
Yeah.
So I dealt with a lot of things that he threw at me. And I kept saying, God, he'll change. He'll change.
So there was a feeling of just kind of loneliness.
Right.
The self-worth wasn't where it should have been.
Right.
You didn't realize
I lost myself.
Yeah.
Loving him.
Yeah.
And that's what we cannot do. So I got this wall up now. I just say, Lord, I just hope I'll be able to love another man again, because I do want to be married.
Yeah.
And I know, but I'm waiting on God this time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'll tell anybody, if your friends come to you, don't turn your back.
Yeah.
Don't turn your back on them. Don't tell them, girl, I would have left. You don't know what you would have did if you're not in that situation. And sometimes women can't leave, or men can't leave, because it's a financial thing. So my thing to women or anybody who's going through that, if you sharing an income, take $25, $30 and start opening up your own account.
Yeah.
And start putting money to the side.
If you're smart.
So you can get out.
Yeah.
If he's beating on you like that, pack an overnight bag. If you don't share a car, leave it in the trunk. We have to find outs. We have to talk. We have to tell people.
Yeah.
Because people, men and women, are killing each other. Domestic violence is real.
It is.
Because I can't have you, you ain't going there.
Yeah.
She can't have you, you're not going there.
Yeah.
And the sad part, that what really hurted me was, because his wife, again, told them that I threatened her. I never threatened her because it was never about her. It was between me and him.
Yeah.
I did tell her you was a pawn in his game. So when we went to court, she sat up there and she lied in the courtroom.
Well, we know about them lies in the courtroom.
But the good thing
that's a sickness.
It is.
I've been lied on in the courtroom. I literally
But
man.
But the good thing is, I got police reports. I went and got the police report that she filed on him. I got the police report that he filed on her, and the police report that he filed on me.
Yeah, you know.
So that police report was helping me. I started helping my attorney with my case, and I thank God for him too, because he had to deal with me.
Yeah,
because I was in a panic. Like, I can't go to jail. They're lying, and I felt like nobody was listening.
Woo! That's it.
That's
it. You feel like you have no voice.
Right.
Everybody feels like, oh, you're automatically the one that's wrong.
Right.
They make you out to be the aggressor, but they never sit back and say, you know what? I'm wrong.
Right.
I provoked this. I did this. I lied about this. I'm wrong.
That's right.
And it's a sickness.
It is a sickness.
It is a sickness. And you got to get real with it. Here's what blessed me. And then we're going to talk about your event that's coming up.
Okay.
All right. And then we're going to, dismiss because it's Friday and my podcasters know what that means on Friday, don't y'all? That's right. Wings and Crown and Coke. All right. No.
So make it peach crunch.
All right. That'll work. But here's what blessed me. I got a lot of people who reached out to me and said, hey, we saw what was said about you, Pastor. We saw, what was done. It was wrong. Some people, like, is it true? They want to, they want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Did you, have to meet with my pastor tomorrow? Mm-hmm. Just a lot of things that has happened because of that has put such a stain on me. And the one thing I said I was not going to do was I wasn't going to retaliate.
No.
I wasn't going to go on social media and
bash her.
Nope.
Don't do that.
She's still the mother of my children.
That's right.
She's still a beautiful woman. She's still an educated woman. She's still a powerhouse preacher. I'm not going to do it.
It's not worth it.
There's so much I could say. But what will I gain from it? So here's what blessed me. And I seen it and it was like a weight lifted off of me. And I could just shout. I saw something. This is my last statement, and we're going to talk about your event. There was a saying that I saw last night, and I needed to see it. Mm-hmm. I was hurting so bad. And it simply said, the prettier the garden, the dirtier the gardener's hands. Mm. And the Lord began to speak to me and say, while others are trying to make their life seem so beautiful and perfect, look at their hands. Mm-hmm. And if your garden, your life, they throwing so much dirt on your life, you got weeds and everything everywhere, that tells me that your hands, they ain't as dirty. You ain't working. It released something from me. And I said, God, it's in your hands.
Right.
So I thank you.
I thank you
for coming on and sharing your story. Yeah, come on.
What helped me was when I went to go see my probation officer for the first time, and she said to me, this does not define who you are.
Yeah.
She said, and they did not win.
Yeah.
And I started to cry.
Yeah.
And I said, they heard me.
Yeah.
Without saying anything.
Yeah.
And all I can do at that moment was praise God.
Praise Him for it.
She said anybody would love to be on the probation that you on.
Wow.
She said they did not win.
Wow.
So you're right. So
Yes.
God showed me.
Yeah.
God worked it out.
Yeah.
He put people in my life.
Yeah.
From the detective
Yeah.
to the prosecutor to my attorney to I wanted to say a lot too, but I just told the judge, I apologize for wasting your time.
Wow. Wow.
So God,
wow,
He worked it out for me.
He worked it out.
And they did not win. That's when I started. And when I left there, I got home and I just started praising God. I just had to praise Him in the car at home, and I was telling everybody, God did this to show me that He was in control all the time.
Yeah.
He needed for me to admit my fault.
Yeah.
And keep it moving.
Yeah.
So let's talk about my event.
Let's talk about the event. You have an event coming up.
Yes. Me and one of my soror sisters. It's called Surviving Domestic Abuse 23.
Okay.
So this is something that me and her just put together. And it's going to be at the Garfield Library.
Okay.
On October the 28th.
Come on, put that flyer up so they can see this.
And we're talking about, our theme is love isn't supposed to hurt. And we want women to come out and start healing. We telling our stories to help other women, and to inspire them, to let them know that you are not alone. Speak up, tell somebody, because if you keep holding it in, not only are you destroying yourself, you know what I'm saying? You're not opening yourself up to be helped.
So talk about the time. You guys see it, but so what will this event entail? Will there be speakers?
It's going to be me telling my story. She's going to tell her story. And she's a young girl, and I am so inspired by my soror sister. Okay. I love her to death. She's younger than me, and we just clicked. She said it was something about me.
Yeah.
So she said when I was telling my story, I was telling her story. Wow. So we have two. So it's me and two more soror sisters that's telling our story, how we survived the domestic violence. Actually, it's four of us. A young lady is going to come and read a poem. So it's a healing process. We just want women to come out.
Listen, Cleveland, Greater Cleveland, y'all have to come out and support. I want everybody to share this. Tell somebody about this. Let's blow this thing up for them. Y'all know how I am about support. Y'all know that I'm always in support. Let's blow this up. I want it to be where literally Garfield Police Department and Fire Department have to come and shut it down and say no more people can come into this library. Y'all, let's blow this up for them, all right? Listen, before we go, if you are a victim of domestic violence, speak out.
Speak out.
Speak out. The domestic violence hotline is 800-799-7233. 800-799-7233. You are worth more. God loves you. Somebody loves you. Do not feel like there is no way out. There's always a way out, all right? So listen, that's our time for tonight. I know y'all was probably on the edge of your seats and wanted some laughs and some giggles. Y'all know I'm pretty funny, but we got to dig into those issues that we just don't talk about, all right? So definitely make sure you share this. Make sure you encourage somebody if they have been through a domestic violence situation to get the help. So my sister, I say to you, God be with you on your new journey of healing. I'm so glad you made it out, and I love you. I thank God for you, and I hope everything you do in your efforts will bless somebody else. So we thank you. Peace. Listen, as I say every Sunday, I'll see you next week.